Most people don't struggle with organising their photos because it's difficult. They struggle because of a few common mistakes that quietly make everything harder. And I see this all the time. People feel overwhelmed, assume they're doing it wrong, and often give up before they've really started. In this video, I'm going to walk you through some of the most common digital photo organising mistakes I see, and more importantly, what actually works instead. And just to stay up front, you don't need to fix everything today. These are simple mind shifts that make the whole process feel much easier. And make sure you stay until the end because I'll share the one shift that makes the biggest difference when you're feeling stuck. Mistake 1. Trying to do everything at once. The first mistake I see all the time is trying to fix everything in one go. People sit down thinking they're finally going to sort all their photos across their phone, laptop, old drives, and cloud accounts, all in one session. And it sounds very productive, but it almost never works. Because what usually happens is burnout. It takes longer than expected, decisions get harder as you go, and most people end up quitting halfway through. What works much better is keeping it small. Work in short sessions. Focus on one step at a time and stop while it still feels manageable. That's what actually helps you keep going and finish. Mistake 2. Thinking you need everything together before you start. People tell me all the time they're waiting to find photos from old USB sticks, laptops, memory cards, and different cloud accounts before they start organising anything. But the reality is, you will always find something else later. Waiting for everything just delays progress, and many people never start at all. What works much better is starting with what you already have. Momentum matters far more than completeness. Once you begin, the rest becomes much easier to deal with as you go. Mistake 3. Starting with the wrong photos. It is very common to begin with the oldest, messiest, or most emotional parts of your collection because they feel the most urgent or important. But in reality, that's usually the hardest place to begin. It's slower, more overwhelming, and emotionally a lot to deal with when you're just getting started. What works much better is starting with your recent photos first. They're easier to sort, easier to decide on, and they help you build confidence and momentum before you tackle the more difficult parts later. Mistake 4. Organising before deleting. People often start sorting, renaming, and filing photos while they still have duplicates, screenshots, blurry shots, and things they just don't actually want to keep. The problem is it doubles the workload and makes every decision harder than it needs to be. What works much better is reducing first. Remove the duplicates, clear out the obvious junk, and then organize what's left. The whole process becomes much faster and much easier. If you're watching this and thinking, this all makes sense, but your photos still feel completely overwhelming, you are definitely not alone. Most people don't struggle because the steps are complicated. They struggle because no one's ever shown them a clear process to follow. That's exactly what I help with inside my Photo Mess Success courses. They guide you step by step through reducing, organising, and setting up a system that actually works. So everything we're talking about here feels much easier to put into practice. If you want more information, just head on over to photomesssuccess.co.uk. But for now, let's get back to those mistakes. Mistake 5. Overthinking the folder structure. Another thing that slows people down is overthinking the folder structure. I see people get stuck deciding whether their folders should be by year, by month, by day, by category, by person, or some complicated mix of everything. And the more options you consider, the harder it becomes to start. You end up trying to put the same photos in 5 different places. What works much better is keeping it simple. Start with year and month. That's more than enough for most people. And once you've got a system working, you can always refine it later if you need to. But in the beginning, Anything more than that usually slows everything down. Mistake 6, ignoring future usability. Often the focus is on getting everything sorted now, but people don't always think about how they're going to search for things later, share them with family, or find them again in a few years' time. And it doesn't feel like it matters in the moment, but over time, systems that aren't practical to use tend to fall apart. What works much better is thinking about your future self. Think about how you'll look for photos later, how your family might want to access them, and what will actually make your collection easier to live with in the long term. Bonus tip, focusing on tools instead of workflow. And finally, here's the shift that probably makes the biggest difference. A lot of people get stuck focusing on tools, which app to use, which software is the best, what setup they should have, thinking the right tool will fix everything. And you know I love a good tool, but tools don't fix messy workflows. What works much better is focusing on your process first. Once you know how you want to sort, reduce, name, and organize your photos, the tools become much easier to choose and much easier to use. Honestly, this is the shift that simplifies everything. So sorting your photos doesn't need to feel overwhelming. It just needs a calmer starting point. And if you want to continue your photo organizing journey, then check out this little video next, where I talk through whether you should start with printed or digital photos first. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more photo organizing tips. Have fun rediscovering your memories. I'll see you in my next video.